Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ben Wheeler. I'm a local realtor in Northwest Wisconsin. Today I am sitting with Dawson from Cross Country Mortgage, and we're going to talk a little bit about the process of just getting pre-approved. If you're thinking about buying a home, or maybe just thinking about you don't want to pay rent anymore, and hey, could I buy a home? What should you do next? So kind of what's the steps when it comes to getting that pre-approval? What should someone be expecting?
Yeah. So, I mean, the first steps initially is you're going to want to talk to a local loan officer. You're going to want to talk to somebody who knows the market that you're going to be buying in. The first steps are having that conversation, the initial conversation. During that, your loan officer should go through and be able to talk to you about what you're going to be comfortable with for a payment, what you're going to be comfortable with for down payment. And then from that, then they're going to want an application from the client.
Sure.
Application is just going to take probably 20 minutes online. I'm just going to ask them some basic information, where they've lived the last 2 years, where they've worked, and just kind of some just simple questions about their personal info.
So when it comes to that, I guess when it comes to work history, let's say, what kind of work history should somebody have if they're wanting to start this process?
Yeah. So generally we say 2 years of employment.
Okay.
And school can count towards that. If they were a college student,
sure,
and they were majoring in, let's say, computer science, and then they got a job in IT, that college experience will count towards work history as well.
So they could have just graduated, and only been at the employer, let's say, for a year. Would that still kind of work into that then? Yeah.
So a lot of times they don't even have to be at the employer for a year. We can do 30 days, 60 days, depending on which loan program they fit into.
Very cool. Now, there's the employment history. If someone isn't sure about their credit and stuff, like maybe they have questionable credit, should they still try to get that pre-approval?
110%. So if they're thinking about buying and that's one of their concerns, they should tell their loan officer right off the bat.
Okay.
One thing that I'm able to do at Cross Country Mortgage is a soft pull. So that's going to give us a basic idea of the scores. They're pretty accurate, usually within 1 to 2 points.
Sure. And
it's going to give us a basic idea of what they owe. And from there, we can set a plan. If their credit score is too low to qualify, then we can set a plan to get them their credit score higher. So definitely, even if they're worried about credit, they should have a conversation with a loan officer.
So then you could kind of get direction from your loan officer of kind of what to do, get that pre-approval moving forward. That's good to know. Even if you don't have the best credit in the world or you're worried about it, still talk to a loan officer, kind of help you guide you through that process. So work history, 2 years, unless college, credit is workable. How about down payment stuff? Does somebody need 20% down?
So that is one of the largest misconceptions that I see. No. A first-time home buyer, generally speaking, 3% down. But in Wisconsin, there is a ton of different options for them if they don't even have that 3% down.
For down payment assistance or loans that offer 100% financing?
Both, yeah. So if they're a veteran, there's 0% financing for a VA loan.
Sure, yeah.
For most of Wisconsin, other than Eau Claire and Hudson, they're going to qualify for a USDA loan.
Okay.
So there's some income limits on that, but it's $110,000. So most people will fit into that. And that's also 100% financing. Then there's also down payment assistance. A lot of times with those loans, you can get your closing costs covered and your down payment covered. And you can come to closing with as little as $1,000 out of pocket, which in my opinion is crazy. It's great for first-time home buyers to have that option.
Well, yeah, because that's less than what your security deposit would be on a rental property, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I explain it to people. Yeah. They're like, well, I don't have a lot of cash. I'm like, okay, how much money do you have? And they're like, oh, I've got a couple grand. I was like, all right, well, your security deposit's going to be this if you rent, or you can get in with some down payment assistance, come in with $1,000 and you don't have a mortgage payment for the first 2 months.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it, because then you can don't get hung up on the fact that you have to have that down payment. Think of that down payment as, that little amount you would be spending it anyway if you were going to be renting a place.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good way to look at it. I like that. So what other programs, are there any programs out there to help first-time home buyers? Besides VA, of course, is a great program for those that have served the country. Very good program. What other ones are out there?
So WHEAT is going to be a big one. That's Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development.
Sure.
That's one of the main down payment assistance that we use here in Wisconsin. Like I said, little as 1% or $1,000 out of pocket. And they can get all their closing costs covered. They can get all their down payment covered. And it's it's just a great program.
Very nice. So then that's something that's more kind of exclusive to, I'm sure every state has some form of it, but that WIDA program is exclusive to Wisconsin. And your loan officer, I think, can help you walk you through that scenario.
Yeah, exactly. Minnesota has a bunch as well.
Okay.
I've done a bunch of Minnesota. They use Minnesota Housing, and that one's pretty much the exact same. $1,000 out of pocket, and you can get all your down payment and closing costs covered.
Very cool. All right. Well, those are just a couple things going forward. If you are just thinking about purchasing a home, getting out of renting a place, and thinking that home ownership might be in your future, the first step really is to talk to a local loan officer and just start that process and see where you're at. And that's the main takeaway I think you should take away from this video. What's the best way to get a hold of you if somebody wants to reach out?
Yeah, so if somebody wants to reach out, the best way to get a hold of me is probably going to be to call me on my cell phone or shoot me a text. My number is 715-553-3450.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you very much. And thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Take care.